Okay, thank you. Welcome to the class. The subject you concern is geography, especially it is a physical geography. The class is Form 5. Revise the syllabus of 2023 year 2025. Lesson 1. Your presenter is Mr. Mustafa. So today's session is all about the main competence known as demonstrate mastery of the structure of the earth. In this competence, we are going to explore a number of geographical phenomena that take into considerations the structure of the planet Earth and the considerations of different theories that put forward about the formation of present landforms. So let's go directly to our specific competence, which is the theories of landforms formation. Theories of landforms formations. So first of all, let us go deeply to look on the different landforms that are present in the planet Earth and how they are formed and what are the major processes that are responsible for the formation of those landforms. So far, the Earth has various landforms such as hills, mountains, plateaus, plains, valleys, just to mention a few, which are created and shaped by one or combination of processes. So understanding how different landforms come into existence is complex. This means that it's not simple to understand the processes which are responsible for the formation of these different landforms mentioned above. However, there are some theories that are put forward on the different driving forces, different causes, different assumptions, different insight, point of views on the formation of the mentioned landforms. Therefore, theories guiding landforms formation are categorized into four, which are continental drifting theory. These put forward the assumptions of the formation of the continents, and we shall see what has been discussed here in specific a theory of the continental drift theory. Then plate tectonic theory that put assumptions of the rigid part of the crust floating on the semi-rigid part in the atmosphere, that is the lower mantle, and they make a displacement of these plates in the different directions. But also isostar theory, which is talking about the balance of the Earth, as the Earth is said to be in equilibrium or is moving towards the equilibrium. And lastly, we are going to discuss about the seafloor spreading theory, which is advanced the theory that come up and support continental drifting theory, even though this is based on the sea or ocean environment. So let's go directly to continental drifting theory so as we can explore how it is responsible for the formation of landforms that we have on the Earth's surfaces. So the continental drifting theory, this will be our first theory to discuss in our lesson. And to go direct in this, we say continental drifting theory explained by different scholars in the different years. So by starting with The first assumptions that has been made in 1908. It was initially developed by the Frank Basri Tyler, who postulated about the concept of horizontal displacement of the continent to explain the distributions of the fold mountains. So here, F.B. Tyler explained about how the fold mountains has been distributed and what are the forces that are responsible for the displacement of those continents, especially in fold mountains as concerned. And to look on the few assumptions, what I can remind you about uh, these assumptions is all about the tidal force is what has been discussed by the Tyler as the main force that caused the displacement of the continent and causing the distributions of the surrounding mountains, as we can go and see the Alps and Atlas mountains there in Europe as well as in Africa. And later on, in 1912, the theory was proposed by Alfred Wegener, who explained about how continents have been moved from their original position on the Earth's surfaces. So Wegener's just uphold what has been discussed before by the Frankie Basil Taylor, who postulated this concept of horizontal displacement by uploading and adding some concepts in order to strengthen this idea of the continental displacement. Therefore, according to Alfred Wegener, about 208 million years ago, the Earth continents were once united, forming a single supercontinent, land masses called Pangaea. And this Pangaea is a Greek word meaning all lands together, which is surrounded by the huge water masses or ocean, so-called Panthalassa. So according to Alfred Wegener, in his theory said that about 208 million years in the previous, there was only single supercontinent landmass that has been surrounded by the huge oceans. And that supercontinent called the Pangaea and that huge water masses or ocean called the Panthalassa. Later on, about 200 million years, Pangaea broke up to form two land masses. Therefore, after a few years later, the Pangaea, the supercontinent, broke into two parts. The one is northern continent, which was known as Laurasia, and the last three southern continent, which was known as Gondwanaland. One in the northern part is Laurasia, and the second one is Gondwanaland. But these two major continents has been separated by a single narrow sea known as Teth. So Laurasia and Gondwanaland were separated by a long narrow sea called the Teth, and about 150 million years later, Laurasia broke up to three continents, that is Europe, North America, Asia, while Gondwanaland broke up and forming Africa, South America, Australia, New Zealand, Antarctica, and the Indian subcontinent. So the present day continents that are seven in number, once they were united to form as a one single landmass called the Pangaea. But we have seen, according to Alfred Wagner, there are three phases. The first phase is of about 280 million years, where the Pangaea is surrounded by the single ocean called Panthalassa. And the second phase is of 200 million years, where the test separated the two large land masses, Laurasia and Gondwanaland. And the last phase is about 150 million years, where Laurasia broke up to form three major continents of the northern hemisphere, and the Gondwana broke up to form the four continents in the southern hemisphere, including Africa, South America, Australia, New Zealand, and Antarctica, as well as Indian subcontinent. Therefore, let's see the animations or the the illustrations of how these continents were formed before and what has been revealed in the present day. So these are example of how this continent has been splitting from the one landmass and forming the seven continents that we have today. So just take a look on this video so as you can know and trace what has been said in your whole presentation. So let us join on the next video. So remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Press there the red button there, subscribe, so as you can get a series of the coming session. Thank you.